Freedom of speech means Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances.
In other words, freedom of religion, speech, writing and publishing, peaceful assembly, and the freedom to raise complaints to the government.
Does protesting go against freedom of speech?
In Bloomington, Indiana, there's been a protest group called Occupy Bloomington. The protesters made this group because they think that businesses take too much power and money. On New Year's Day morning, the police arrested people for partying. The police told the protesters they had to leave before noon on Thursday, January 5th, 2012.
Some of the protesters refused to leave and some decided to go. The ones who stayed are making a slow exit. 2 were arrested because they were still on the property after 11 p.m. On Thursday, January 5th, by 2 p.m., the park had been cleared out except for some boxes and tents, which the protesters said they would move for themselves. Do you think the people from Occupy Bloomington should have had the right to stay?
I think that was a misconception of what they had a right to do and what they didn't really have a right to do. The Occupy Bloomington folks had a right to continue protesting, just not overnight. And in the beginning, they tried to use the overnight stay to make a point. And I don't really think that as an organization they were prepared for what happened afterwards. I think it's the nature of the organization of the Occupy folks that their consensus-building organization didn't allow them to proactively tackle some of the other problems that would arise as a result of introducing a homeless camp into downtown Bloomington.
I believe in them leaving. I don't believe that they had to stay there overnight to continue their protest. If they really believe in the protest, and I'm not sure that a lot of them even knew what they were protesting. Maybe not a lot, but certainly some of them did not understand what they were protesting. They were just there to protest and kind of join in the social aspect of the protest. But if you really believe in the protest, you would show up every day and protest. Why do you have to stay there at night when nobody can even see you?
Many protesters thought this was a violation of freedom of speech. Also, bullying is a big topic right now, and people are using freedom of speech as a way to get out of the punishment. So, when does freedom of speech become a crime?
They commit a crime. When they say something, that's a crime. Intimidation, threatening somebody's life, threatening to commit an assault on them, that's a crime. So it's no longer bullying, that's a crime.
If someone is being bullied, can the victim say what they want to defend themselves?
No, they can't, and they don't want to engage in that. Even if somebody who's doing the bullying or the teasing is actually committing a crime, the person who's being the victim in that situation, they don't want to all of a sudden become a criminal by committing a crime themselves.
It crosses the line in the victim in this case engages in what's known as slander or libel, or inciting a group of people to commit a crime. The courts in this country work on the premise of you are innocent until proven guilty. You cannot incite a riot to attack someone who's bullying you.
Many people are complaining because they can't pray in public schools. Do students really have the right to pray in public schools?
Must be free from viewpoint discrimination perpetrated by the schools. Unfortunately, the schools have not always responded to the case law positively, and that has led to continuing conflicts of schools engaging in sort of roving censorship of religious speech.
Praying in public schools is really another it's a separation of church and state as set by our government, and if there's going to be prayer in public schools, I think it should be voluntary. It should be groups of kids that want to get together on non-school time. I don't believe that kids should be forced to sit through a prayer in school. I think anybody that wants to pray privately can certainly do so in a public school, but I think it's really a case where prayer and education need to sort of stay separated.
I think if you think back right now, you have times of the day, even though it's busy, you can stop and pray anytime you want. You probably pray right before a test. But it's a little more difficult when you provide the space for someone to lead prayer in school. Leading prayer in school can also provide an opportunity for an unfair influence over others. Maybe there are others in that group of people who don't want to pray, don't feel comfortable praying, or don't feel comfortable praying in the same way that the person leading wants to do. So
Freedom of speech is one of the many things that shapes our country. We got a chance to interview some people about what they think of freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech is important to me because it gives everybody the right to say what they want to.
Freedom of speech is important to me because it gives me a chance to share my ideas.
Freedom of speech is important to me because it lets me express what I believe in.
Freedom of speech is important to me because it lets me talk about what is important in the state.
Freedom of speech is important to me because without it, it limits what I have to say in.